Hello students, I am Kumari Swati. Today I am going to tell you about epithelial tissue, which is a kind of an animal tissue. In this you will learn different kinds of animal tissues and what are their functions. So first of all, what is epithelial tissue? Epithelial tissue is a type of animal tissue. Epithelial cells are the one that cover the surface of our body, our skin, the membrane of our reproductive, respiratory, and digestive tract. The surface of our individual organs are all covered by an epithelial layer. Due to being exposed, these tissues face a lot of abuse and damage from environmental contact, such as cracks, cuts, etc. As a result, these cells divide rapidly to replace the damaged surface cells and are continuously replaced. Another characteristic of epithelial cells is that they are avascular. That means they are without vessels. They don't have a direct blood supply. Epithelial cells have to get the nutrients and oxygen which they need to survive by absorbing it from the cells that is beneath them. This layer is known as basement membrane. So beneath every epithelial tissue, we will find this basement membrane. Some epithelial cells are modified with cilia, microvilli or glands to help them perform their individual function. Another functions involved in epithelial tissues are absorption, secretion, and excretion of substances. Osmosis and diffusion are also carried through these tissues. The simple squamous lines, the lungs through which diffusion of gas takes place. Now, I'll tell you in detail the functions of epithelial tissue, which are of different types. Different epithelial tissues basically are also the one who have different structures, which is correlated with their unique functions. For example, in cell lining, blood vessels or lung alveoli, there is transportation of substances occur through a selectively permeable membrane. There is simple flat kind of epithelium. This is called as simple squamous epithelium. Simple squamous epithelial cells are extremely thin and flat. It forms a delicate line. The esophagus and the lining of mouth are also covered with the squamous epithelium. It is very important to remember the functions and the examples of different kinds of squamous epithelial tissue or different kinds of epithelial tissue. The skin which protects the body is also made up of squamous epithelium. Skin epithelial cells are arranged in many layers to prevent wear and tear. Since they are arranged in a pattern of layers, so these kind of epithelial tissues are called as stratified squamous epithelium. Now, where absorption and secretion has to occur, such as in small intestine, the inner lining of the small intestine, they have tall epithelial cells, and this is called as columnar epithelial cell, which basically has pillar-like structure. It facilitates movement across epithelial barrier in the respiratory tract. The columnar epithelial tissue also has cilia, which are basically hair-like projections on the outer surface of the epithelial cells. These cilia can move further and the movement pushes the mucus forward to clear it. This type of epithelium is called ciliated columnar epithelium. Cuboidal epithelium, which is basically cube-shaped cell, form the lining of kidney tubule and ducts of salivary glands where it provides mechanical support. So epithelial cells often acquire additional specialization also, as we see in the gland cells, which secrete substances at epithelial surface. So basically, we have different kinds of epithelial tissues, such as simple squamous epithelial tissue, cuboidal epithelial tissue, columnar or ciliated epithelial tissue, and stratified squamous epithelial tissue. Sometimes a portion of epithelial tissue folds inward and a multicellular gland is formed. This is called as glandular epithelial tissue. I hope whatever things I wanted to convey you through this podcast is clear and you are able to understood the different kinds of epithelial tissue based upon their structure and their function. Thank you so much.